All right, it is 4 p.m. We are just going to give a few minutes before all participants join. As you can see, Michel and Kostas, the participants are able to join now. So we're just gonna give until 16:05 to wait for everybody to be there, and then we can start a webinar.
Yeah. Yeah, the brochure online. Yeah.
Also the last year's brochure.
Sorry.
The old one, we have to update it.
Sorry,
we have the old leaflet.
Oh yeah, we need to.
Tyrone is there, Tokyo is there. We need to update a few things.
Yeah, Tyrone is still there. Also.
Yeah.
Tyrone,
Tokyo.
Yeah.
Everything starting with a T gone. So
Sorry?
Tokyo, Tyrone, anything starting with a T is gone.
Yeah. I think this week will be fantastic. I think.
Yeah.
And especially the IBM visit. You know, IBM, they extend to the whole afternoon visit.
Okay.
Initially, we plan only 1.5 hours.
We're gonna give 1 more minute before starting, and of course, at some point we're going to speak about everything the participants are going to be doing during today's model or during this week's model. That would be excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. This.
All right. Well, it's time. It is 16:05, and we are going to start a webinar right away. All right. So, first of all, I wanted to thank you all for allowing yourselves the opportunity to be here with us today. So we are today with Professor Michel Phan and Professor Kostas Nikolopoulos. We're going to dedicate the next 55 minutes to 1 hour to speak about the Global DBA. All right. And my name is Carlos Lopez. I am in charge of recruitment for the Global DBA, this joint program we have in between Durham University and Durham-emlyon Business School. And of course, I'm very pleased yet again to welcome the co-directors of our program. Just to give you a quick view of the profiles. All right, Professor Kostas Nikolopoulos is co-director of the Global DBA. He's a doctorate in engineering, specialized in forecasting algorithms and systems. He's also specialized in business information systems and analytics. He's an analytics expert. Professor Michel Phan, he is also a co-director of the GDBA. He's a PhD in cross-cultural business-to-business relationship marketing, and he is also a very well-recognized expert in the luxury industry worldwide. Right? And so, with no further ado, professors, let's start. Let's start with the questions, so if you don't mind.
Yeah. Whatever.
So, first one. Could you please explain for us what is exactly a Global DBA and what is exactly a Global DBA Durham-emlyon?
Okay, Michel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's home base.
Yeah. So welcome to all to our webinar. So our Global DBA, it's a program that's done minimum 4 to 6 years of study, part-time, and targeted to senior executives around 40 years old average age, with 15 years of work experience in the industry. And this is a research-based program with very strong focus on industry or application to managers. So the candidates who join this program have very strong experience in the industry in any particular field, and he or she wish to deepen that knowledge into more research orientation, and also more become how to say that, expert in the field as well. So this is why they should come back to do the DBA with us.
Okay, so to add to this, we are representing here Durham University, one of the third oldest university in the United Kingdom and one of the most prestigious ones. We're extremely happy to work with DBA and me personally working with Michel to create what we believe is, if not one of the strongest programs in the world. On top of what Michel emphasized, I need to say that this is sort of what we call a switch program. So we see a lot of profile about people that are close to ending one stage of their career, so coming out of the public sector or coming out from an established career, and they want to make a switch and then go create a startup or go to a different business or go to consultancy in one of the big four or another consultancy firm. And they want to give that R&D spin, so it's clear an R&D and research and development kind of suites, and they want to have that added degree. So they sort of start of planning ahead, and just 5 years before they go out of what kind of industry they are at the moment, they sort of start planning and getting into that research journey, a 5-year part-time research journey. Also, it's a degree which we have designed very, very well, thinking about the global perspective. So we're fully utilizing the global basis that DBA is offering, as well as the ones we have in UK. So we're looking at definitely Durham, London from our end, and then Paris, Lyon, plus an international base. At this stage, we're considering of Mumbai in India and the big push in the India market. So there is a very well thought and designed process that will get you and give you that spin and that competitive edge that only very few institutions or joint, as we do in our case, can actually offer you.
Thank you very much for this very clear explanation. We designed these the questions of these webinars in order to respond to recurrent questions we have from candidates, right? So one of the most recurrent we have is basically, what is the difference in between a doctorate in business administration and a PhD? Could you please tell us more about that?
Yeah, so the PhD is much more of, how to say, much more academic, and it's aimed to people who want to have a career in teaching and academia mostly. So the research, the PhD, most of the time it's a full-time PhD. So you do that for about 4 or 5 years of a full-time workload, and the profile is very different from DBA profile. The PhD, for example, at DBA, we have a PhD as well, and the average age of the candidates, they are like mid-20s to early 30s at as oldest group. So they have very fewer years of work experience, and they come in with very not really knowing exactly what they want to research in. So they would be more guided by the research supervisors. And so they can develop the research topics throughout those few earlier months. So compared to the DBA candidates, our DBA candidates, when they arrive in the program, they know exactly what they want research in, what field they want to be in, and what the topic they want to work in as well. So that's the main difference.
Yes, fully agree. And to add to that, apart from the profile that was very clearly made from Michel, that we are looking at very experienced people. So PhD, anybody at the age of 24, 25 can start it right after their master's. Could be even something like a 3+3 that they have in the engineering department, where you do 3 years your undergrad and then 3 years your PhD, your engineering doctorate, without any kind of industrial experience. Now, we want to see the break. We want to see you working. We want you to see you succeeding, and then really thinking that there is something missing to get you to the next level, to become global leaders, and that is that R&D spin. So you really need to be able to lead research journeys, and you want to do one of your own. So we want to see those 10 to 15 years worth of experience. We want to see that maturity that unfortunately or fortunately comes with age. So we'll see a cohort that has a higher age average. There will be no discount, of course, in rigor. So don't expect any discount in the academic journey there. So you'll have equally doing challenging topics as the one, but you will do it in a part-time mode. This is acknowledged, so we know that you work on top of your existing workload. That also gives you an advantage that you could be working with your own data, your own company. We're very keen to see companies supporting you, so your company being happy to engage and support you, but at the same time you show back commitment and you are tied to the company for the next few years if they are willing to fund part of your academic journey. And the fact that you could be working with data in-house, that's extremely important, because one of the big obstacles in PhDs is that they don't have access to data, because companies are not willing to let data coming out of their own building very often. So if you work with data in the ECB, you have to go to the ECB to work there. If you want to work with a WHO, you have to go to WHO. If you want to work with a major bank, you have to go to the bank. Data do not go out. While if you do your DBA, you can still work with your own data if your employer allows you, and still create sort of initially a bespoke solution. Nevertheless, still there has to be something coming out in terms of an academic paper at some stage, but still initially a bespoke solution that your employer would be very happy. So it's many, many differences, very tailored to people that have experience in industry and they see the need to do that switch.
That is brilliant. Thank you very much. Is there anything else that you wanted to add, Michel?
No, I just would like to welcome probably some more questions from the participant if they have any.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is also something I wanted to say. So feel free, please, to ask your questions. So, I'm going to have a look at them and I'm going to ask it to the program directors. Okay, there is one here, so I'm going to allow myself to read this question for you, so you can answer, right? So,
one question from Benjamin.
Yeah. Exactly. The question is from Benjamin Poe, and he says, which are the research topics the faculty is willing to supervise currently?
Well,
okay, the bold answer here is everything and anything. And that's part of the reason why we joined forces with DBA to expand the base of the problems we can tackle and also to jointly tackle them. So every student has two supervisors, one from DBA, one from Durham, never two from Durham or two from DBA. So it's always a joint game, a joint approach to tackling the problem. So that helps us have a more diverse kind of team with a more British kind of academic approach, but also a European, very fast-paced kind that is more common in DBA. Different topics, more topics, broader topics. And essentially, there is no topic that cannot be handled. So if you bring a topic in, there is expertise practically in everything. We're not only tied to marketing or management. The kind of colleagues that they do get involved, they could be from any school in finance, economics. So again, any topic can be handled. And the good thing is that it will be handled by two academics from two different institutions. You end up getting two different degrees at the very end. You get 2 degrees, and this needs to be emphasized. One from Durham University and one from DBA.
Yeah, and our school, for example, we are right now we have 160 professors, and we're still recruiting about 10 new professors every year. So that means that we enrich more and more our faculty body. So this means that any new professors joining us could be potential supervisors of the DBA candidates as well. So we, as Kostas mentioned, we have enough resources to supervise pretty much any topic related to management, business, administration, you name it, right? Some from finance to strategy to innovation.
Even if there is a spin, you know, that for example, somebody wants, because this is a DBA, so it's business administration, people think it's only about just business, core business. You may be doing something that touches on financial analytics or monitoring, corporate governance, and there's sort of monitoring, and there is auditing, and there is then accounting involved. We can definitely find someone from one of the two schools that has the necessary experience in accounting to sort of do that. So there's no topic that these two business schools together the top 100 business schools, both of them. There is no topic that cannot be handled by us at this stage.
Yeah.
That is perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Well, there are some very interesting questions here. I'm going to privilege instead of mine because they're very good ones. So the following one is from Mirak Sastre, and she's asking, what is the estimated minimal optional time investment needed on a monthly basis to take the best out of the program? Oh, this is a good one. Have that regularly.
What?
I'll throw you in the,
Yeah.
in the wolves now. You know?
Yeah. There's, in fact, the DBA, it's like, I don't know, you are familiar with the running the marathon versus running 100 meters race. A DBA is a marathon. So it's about, not about speed, but about managing your efforts and your time, your energy, So this is something very important. So when you embark on a DBA, you know that you have 4 to 6 years to complete the process in a part-time mode. So you have to manage your family life, your professional life, and your DBA at the same time. So we don't have like exact number, and also depend on each person. How fast can you work? How much more time, free time can you allocate on weekends or holidays, whatever time you have. So yes, the workload is the amount of work, amount of time is depend on each individual. So we don't have like a the benchmark for that.
Yeah, it's the right analogy. So it's about long-term pace. It's not about spells. It doesn't work well if you devote 2 weekends and then you spend 15 or 10 hours. It needs a little bit of time to say, okay, I'm gonna devote that Friday evening and that Tuesday morning, depending on what schedule you have, and you need to keep doing that regularly. So it's not something that you can just catch up by doing long spells every now and then. It needs pace. It needs consistency. There's also a very important thing. There are 2 phases in the program. In the first phase, there's a thought element, a big thought element, where you're making sure that the skills are there and you are ready. And then there is a switch to the research phase. Okay, this is happening after 2 years. For 2 years, we're sort of preparing you, grooming you to some extent to make sure you are able to deliver what you aspire to deliver. So we have 4 different modules that you'll get through. You'll go about leadership and followership. You will go about entrepreneurship. You will go about global strategic management. You will go about technology and innovation management, which is what we run actually in the next 3 days here in Paris. And then at the very end, there's going to be a very intense double-weighted course. The previous are 30 credits. This one is 60 credits that me and Michel personally make sure that you are ready to go into the research phase. We call it theory into practice. So it's a stage where we're making sure that this is happening. And it's a combination of research methods where we sort of train you in the kind of things you need in order to develop your methodology about your research journey, but also making sure that there's cutting-edge state-of-the-art stuff are taught to you. And that usually over the last summer in the second year, and then by this autumn, when you actually up 2 years, program start in January, and then 2 years go back in January again. In that stage, you're ready to prepare a 15,000 word document, which is your actual proposal, which now only then it's actually fully formed of what you want to do. And on that, you are judged. And actually, this is happening tomorrow for the first cohort we have. 8 students are defending their proposals. That's the only time where you really are assessed and we say, yes, you are ready to go for your research journey or not. So there's a very good of support for 2 years, and then the defense is happening in switch into the research phase. And it's not something that, to my personal experience, and I really speak from experience here, I did an engineering doctorate, which is very similar to that. So I was engaging in a project and I had to work on the research element after my daily work was finishing, and it took me 6 years, which is sort of equivalent of what we're looking at here. And it's a lonely journey, but we are here to exactly make sure that it's not lonely for you, because there is the thought element, and then there are 2 supervisors, one from DBA, one from Durham, and both of them make sure to give you advice, supervise and advise throughout the full period. Actually, we do assign the supervisors even at the thought phase. So you have a name to sort of help you in preparing that proposal although they're fully needed once you switch to that research mode.
Yeah, all the participants get assigned to the supervisor at the end of year one. So at the end year one, based on your initial research topic, we would match you with the supervisor from each school. So that answers the question from Benjamin as well. Yes, you do get 2 supervisors, 1 from each school. So which is really unique from our program, because most of the time you get only 1 supervisor. This one you have 2 co-supervisors, and they are all, of course, interested in your topic, but have expertise in your topic, so they can help you to guide you through the research stage. Yeah, I think we have one question from James Richardson. Yes, you can visit our schools anytime. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. I mean, I'm available. If you're willing to visit, we can see each other at the campus of Lyon, Paris, or at the campus in Lyon. At Durham University, there are my colleagues over there who can also welcome you with great pleasure.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for answering the previous questions as well, because it was also part of my questions. And one of them, I just in order to add something, is you were saying that is very unique that we have 2 thesis advisors.
Yeah.
All right. So one from Lyon, one from Durham University. In your opinion, because this is a common question as well, why this is different? Why is this that special?
Why this special? Because most of the time you get only 1 supervisor in most of the other doctoral programs or in other schools. So here, because you had a joint program, we have 2 supervisors from 1 each school, and that can be very rich for the candidates, because you have 2 supervisors maybe come from the same field but can have different perspectives. So one, like in any discussion, when you just have monologue, it's less interesting, or you have dialogue. But these are, we have 3 people in a conversation, so you have different opinions, different perspective. So one supervisor can give you, different, like, okay, you should look into this area instead, and another one say, oh, you should look at that area as well. So you can, it can enrich the experience of the candidate.
Yeah, and also don't underestimate the importance. It's very different if you have 2 supervisors from 1 institution than having 2 supervisors from 2 different institutions. So although we tend to believe that academics are all operating the same way, there's a strong influence from the European culture that is very clear in the EM Lyon Business School, and from a very clear influence from British culture that is, I keep on saying, it's the 3rd oldest institution, and the only equivalent you can think of is Cambridge and Oxford, which are the 2 oldest ones. So we're talking about an old British institution that has a collegial structure. There is also a very important element that the Durham part is supported by the colleges as well, which is a secondary network that you build. So you will see a different kind of feeling from the one supervisor from the other. It's not just 2 guys from the same institution. Also, you'll see diversity. You'll see people approaching the problem from a different end. And we sort of try to give a little bit of more quantitative end on the one and more qualitative end on the other. So if there is a room to work on 2 different methodologies approaches, we will go for it. As long as, of course, the candidate is comfortable with that. But we'll try to create as diverse and as dynamic an environment as possible in between the 2 institutions. And there is no first or second supervisor here. There's a joint degree, 2 degrees. So both have to make sure that they are happy for their own institution to award a degree. And so both of them at the same time are gatekeepers there. Okay. Yeah. So that's very important, really important.
Excellent.
We should take a question from Abdul. Can
you just exactly. Well, there's a question from Abdul, and there are a couple of ones. The first one is the one with the different DBAs. Okay, which one is better? Which one is better? They are different. Yeah, very different. That's the thing.
That's an unfair question, because
the answer is obvious. The EM Lyon one.
Obviously, it's the one here. 4 is the EM Lyon one.
Exactly.
But in a more on a more serious note, those are 3 different programs. Okay, and EM Lyon also have their second DBA program. So there's a portfolio of programs. The ones we do have in Durham, and I'm not here to advertise them. They have different directors. Okay, so different programs. The Durham DBA has more of a marketing focus. The Fudan DBA has more of a China focus, and EM Lyon has also a program that has more of a China focus. But the one which I really here stand for, and I'm extremely proud, is the global one, because we sort of offering you the true global experience and the experience from 2 different institutions with 2 different cultures. Okay, so it's not only the global basis. Yes, we could buy bases all over the place and offer you an international experience. It's that Lyon knows how to do business in India. They really know how to do business in China. They really don't know how to do international. We also offer a much more British, old kind of traditional educational system, and we merge them in a very ideal and a very synergetic way. We also offer a true integration between different skill sets and different kind of pool of expertise. It's not that we have an identical pool of expertise. There are different professors here. For example, what Michel is doing in luxury marketing and luxury fashion, we don't have that in Durham. We have very good marketing professors that do brand management, they do other things, but that specific one, we just get it and borrow that, in quotes, that kind of expertise. And at the same time, there's not a guy doing pure forecasting or market or forecasting analytics, which is what I do in Durham. At the same time, EM-lyon capitalize from that expertise. So we very clearly have seen the synergies that could have been created. We don't have international basis. EM-lyon has international basis. So we sort of created something that really capitalizes on the strengths of both schools, and we are really thinking that we are offering that. Plus, you get 2 separate degrees. Okay, don't underestimate that. Yeah. 2 degrees for 2 institutions. Durham DBA is 1 degree, 1 institution. So this is extremely very important, and that also, because there's another question there, it opens you actually more doors to an academic career. The fact that you have 2 PhDs from 2 different institutions.
Yeah. And to complement the second question from Abdul, yes, you know, academic career is not only having the right degree. You need to have a doctorate degree to enter academic career anyway. But most important is what you do after the academic, the DBA or doctorate degree. You have to publish. So in our institution, for example, at our school, EM-lyon, we recruit new professors with DBA or PhD or French doctorate. You have a French doctorate as well, regardless of their qualification. But what is we look at is their publications record. That's more important. So during the DBA program, you have opportunity to work with your supervisor to publish your research along the way as well. We have Ashish, for example, one of our candidates right now in the first cohort. He published like some research paper a few months ago with his supervisor in a conference, and yeah, so you can do publication through along the way, and that is more important to get an academic career. Yeah, that's answered your question, Abdul.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. There is a question here from Steve Yen, and this is a very important one because I was about also to address the subject of experience in the program, because we have a beautiful thing going on here, and well, this is something that needs to be lived, right? So Steve asks, I am in Asia. Do I need to participate / join the courses in person?
Yes.
Yes, the bold answer is yes, and there is a very good reason for it. We sort of see the pandemic as a, in quotes, disruption. We really engage and we really cherish the opportunity of face-to-face. We don't believe there's any substitute. Yes, we could have some things that we've done just to make sure that things continue during the pandemic, but there is nothing that really substitutes face-to-face. And think about the networks you do. There's no way how you can do the networking properly when you are not face-to-face. There's no way you can benefit from the college life that we have and the network you will establish. So you'll come in Durham, you'll spend a few days, you'll have your teaching, but at the same time, we'll make sure you go to the college and you'll see the people there. And the people there will not be people from your program. There will be lawyers, there will be engineers, there will be people just happening to be in the same college with you. And then you will establish a secondary network there. You will come to Paris, you will come to Lyon, you will visit, for example, in this cohort, Station F, which is the biggest incubator in the world, more than 1,000 startups. You will go to IBM, you will come to London, you will come to Durham, and then you'll have one international place where we'll go and deliver there. We'll plan to deliver a technology innovation course into Mumbai, and then you have a good look into the India market, which is one of the biggest emerging markets out there. So again, everything is designed so there's maximum networking opportunities and maximum opportunities to really start something, which is what many people want to do once they engage in that journey. So bluntly, it's not one of those programs that would work well. It could work distant if need be again, and if the pandemic is, starts getting into a new phase, but that's not what we want. We really want you to come and get all the benefits of what's happening. Also, we do a very clever move to, for example, what's happening in the next 3 days here is 2 cohorts are actually here at the same time. So it's not only networking within one cohort, but it's also in between the cohorts. So the one cohort will see the other cohort. There will be same days, and the one will have the company visit, as we call it, and the visit to Station F, visit to IBM. But at the same time, there will be networking with the guys from the other cohort that they will see them having a module delivered, the module technology innovation. So it's very well thought how we maximize the networking opportunities you have during this program.
Excellent. Thank you very much. To complement the question of Stephen, how often do they need to be physically present in the different locations? So how often does the module take place?
What the module take place every few months. So we have for 2023, we have the first module in around mid-January, another one in May, and then later on in fall, like around end of September, October. 23.
So there is
every few months.
Every one term, essentially, we want to deliver a module that is consistency. There are 3 terms in the year, and we always start in week 2 and want to finish everything by week 10 of the term. So we start in January 2023. We start with London and Durham. We do the introductions in London, and then we have the first module, leadership and followership, delivered in Durham, and then we come here in Lyon in May, and we do the second module. Then we go into the start of the next year. We go into the international base. We plan to go to Mumbai, and then that's a EM base. And then we have Paris, and at the very end, we have that theory into practice module, which will be again London, Durham, and then the defense here in Paris. But look now the trick. But the moment we get into essentially October 2024, we come back to Paris to do your defenses and do the visits probably to Station F. It's the same time that the next cohort, the 2024 cohort, comes into Paris to do their module. So there at the moment you are defending and you are getting ready to get into your research phase after you closing the 2-year journey. You also meet with the next cohort that is just 1 year in the program, and then you have a maximum networking opportunity where you see the guys that are also leaders in their own fields in different companies. You extend your network there. Also, you extend your support network, because those are guys that could be studying together things, working together in things, exchanging ideas. Also, one idea that came here from Michel personally, and we were very supportive, and we are implementing that now, is that in between the module deliveries, we will offer you what we call research days. So those are days where some of the guys that are ahead of you in the journey, they will come and present their work. Now, that is also in parallel, it's a hybrid mode. So we offer it face-to-face for whoever wants to come. It's not compulsory. That's the only part which is not compulsory to come. You can still join like here today from the web, but it's something that we will again use our bases, the venues we do have in between the 2 schools, and then 2 or 3 or 4 students will come and present their work. And you can be there and see what's happening, or you can join online and then see what's happening. But that's again an opportunity to extend your networking.
Yeah. I think there was another question from Benjamin about field trip or international project. Well, that's not exactly what we want you to do when you come in a physical, because when you have the module in face-to-face mode, we will have opportunity to invite companies to come to present, or we can take you to company visits during that module as well. So this is part of the learning experience. So you don't learn only in a classroom, but you learn also from industry or companies who come to present or to share their know-how with you.
Yeah, there's no, however, exchange with other institutions. So 2 are already 2. It takes 2 to tango, as we say, but no more. So any opportunity is in between us, and then we have your topic can get you wherever you want, to whatever company you want to get involved, whatever data you have, whatever data you want to do, but there are no other institutions involved in that journey. Also, the only field trips, they are the ones that are arranged from us. We have a lot of traveling, but not anything unnecessary. Okay, we understand that you have busy lives, so it's the 6 times practically. It's 5 modules, but it's 6 times you'll need to be in one of our bases, plus the optional research days that you can be or not. The idea with that is that, you know, if we organize a research day in Paris, some of you will be close by in Europe anyway, and with a 1-hour flight or catch a train, you could be in Paris, so you may decide to come. We always do that on a weekend, so you could combine with other things. If not, you can join online. There's another one in London, again, that's the idea there. So we're trying to make things to maximize your networking opportunity, maximize the face-to-face time you can have with us. You may think that 6 times in 2 years is a lot, but others think 6 times in 2 years is not a lot. So again, we're trying to find a balance there. And the idea was once every term, you see us, and then in between we have those research days that close this gap, which I said is a very long journey. So you really need to have as much support as possible. There is one other question about the actual document, the actual, yeah.
There was, I mean, there was just before this one, there was another questions from Abdul, and this is a recurrent question as well. So I think it's worth to address it. Is it possible to complete the degree in less than 4 years?
No. The idea is that we don't want to make any discount, and as in any other program, since that is an equivalent to a PhD degree, the PhD is 3 years. This becomes part-time. It becomes 6 years. We have managed to set a minimum of 54 months. So once you reach that threshold, then you are able to defend. Now, defense is a sensitive issue, so you can, ideally, we propose that you only defend once your supervisors are happy for you to defend. So they tell you, yes, you are ready, and they're extremely experienced, and they can see when someone is ready. But even if you believe you are ready and the supervisors don't, you can still defend anytime after the 54 months. That's 4.5 years. Okay, that's the absolute minimum. But again, working backwards and be a little bit blunt here, if you think you can finish earlier, that's something that it's extremely rare, because you have very busy lives. You're already at a certain age. You already have some years of experience. You have very, very demanding bosses out there. And at the same time, in your free time, you're trying to do that research journey. And the end result is academic publications, which verify that the very fine work was done. That takes a lot of time. All that didn't take a lot of time. So don't be underestimating that research journey. It's not just another piece of paper that you are after, and you could take it in 20 months or 30 months. If somebody's promising these things, it's not going to be definitely of the quality that we're looking at here. And we're talking about Durham and DBA. We're really talking about the top 100 degree. There will be only 100 other institutions out there that can give you something which is of similar value. And we're talking about the top American institutions, including in those. So really don't underestimate the work that needs to get into that, to get into the stage where you can really defend. And to my experience, I've seen some people that they could, instead of 3 years, finish off in 3 years less 3 months. So 2 years and 11 months, 2 years and 10 months, they were ready to defend. That happened. That's fine, but that's equivalent of 5 years if you look into the part-time DBA mode.
Yeah. Don't forget, this is a part-time degree. It's not a full-time degree. So this is part, and we cater for people who want to keep working with professionally doing the DBA program.
There's no option to switch at full-time mode at some stage. So some people think, okay, I can do 2 years part-time, then I can switch 1 year full-time, and then I can finish in 3 years. Or there is no such option. This is a continuously part-time program, because the assumption is that you will keep on working for very high demanding companies, that they need you to be there and take decisions each and every day. So there is an understanding that you keep on having a very busy career while you're doing that.
We have one question from George Koshi.
Yes, Josh Koshi, in regards to the additional location, right? So it says, in addition to Paris and Durham campus, there was a brief mention of Mumbai as a third location. Which business school, in this case, in Mumbai, is going to provide us the support?
We call it Xavier College, Xavier University. You probably heard of this university in India. It's a very well-known institution. It's believe it's a Catholic university, and we have a partnership with them, so we use their facilities. Yeah.
So essentially, we're using 5 venues. We use London and Durham in UK. We use Lyon and Paris in France, and then we use one international base. Mumbai. And the decision at the moment is to go for Mumbai and go for the India market for many different reasons.
Yeah. We have a campus in China as well, but the problem with China right now, we don't know when we can go and when we can come back, you know. So our China Shanghai campus is a bit off the record right now because it's the COVID situation in China is getting back to.
So for your January 2023 start cohort, the decision is to go for the Mumbai base.
Settled, yeah.
Excellent. Victor Jimenez is asking, I am applying to the Durham DBA. Can I also apply to the Global DBA?
The idea is to think very well before you apply. So it's apply in 10 different places and then, you know, or I give a vanilla application. So it's very different programs. Okay. So my advice would be to apply for only one of them. And there's no also a rebound process where you may get an offer or not get an offer and then immediately consider for another one. There are very different reasons to join a program. I just explained that this is a true joint program with 2 degrees, much more international travel, much more global aspect. So you can talk to the DBA office in Durham. They will advise you which one is more appropriate for what you're trying to do. But essentially, those are 2 very different programs.
Victor was, sorry, Michel, please.
Yeah, well, quick question from Abdul, who asked if he can get the doctor in front of his name. Yes, the answer is definitely yes. The DR is a privilege that you can use only when you have a doctoral degree, whether PhD or DBA, or in front we have a French doctorate degree as well. So when you have one of those,
what about us engineering doctors?
Yeah, we don't have engineering doctorate.
Yes, doctor engineer.
Yeah, you have doctor engineering in UK as well. So when you have a doctorate degree, yes, you can use a doctor title in front of your name. Yes, it's a privilege. Yeah.
The something additional to the previous question of Victor Jimenez about applying either to Durham or the Global DBA program. He had a very specific research topic, and what I was saying that we can address that later more individually, but it has to do with entrepreneurship, right? It has to do with pitching and with entrepreneurship. So we're gonna see that a little later, Victor. But in this case, if the orientation is entrepreneurship, maybe the Global DBA might be a better idea. We will see about that. Another question is from Miraka Sastre, and this is in regards to financing the program. Right? This is, of course, you know, it has a certain cost, and people are willing to know how they can finance the program. Right? So, could you please tell us a bit more about what is possible? Are there any scholarships available?
Okay, so the idea is that this is a flagship program. In Durham, we consider one of the most prestigious programs we're offering, and it's as such, it's a very expensive one in many different ways, but it spreads over 4 and 5 years, with a total cost of 60,000, 20, 20, 10, and 10 is very clearly in the leaflet. We do have support in place, but the support is in the sense of fee waiver. So we are offering 5 different scholarships. One is joint in between Lyon and Durham. It's women in industry, women in entrepreneurship. We are very much keen to see female leaders, and we support them as much as possible. That's the one which is joint between the 2 institutions. And then there are 2 more offered from Lyon that Michel will talk about them, and 2 more offered from us. One is the Executive Dean's Scholarship, which is the most prestigious we offer in Durham across the MBA programs and the DBA programs, which essentially covers 50% of the fees. And the other one is the director of the DBA program. It's my scholarship, which I'm very happy about it because it gives you some discretion to look at excellence in any actual field you may have. So essentially, you can make a case, and then I can consider it and decide what is appropriate for your case. But it's lower definitely than the Executive Dean, so it's something in between 0 and 50% worth of your fees over the years. There is no cap but usually you are looking at something that is in the area of 5 to 10,000 every year, covering your fees, and then you have to cover for the rest. Obviously, many of you are extremely successful in what you do and have set resources aside. Some of you are going for educational loans, but usually the case is that we do offer some support and the rest is covered from you personally. One thing we're trying very hard with Michel to do is get things to the next level, where we're trying to approach companies first, which they would be willing to support you. For example, we have a scheme in UK with the Royal Air Force that every year they fully support one student 100%. So that's where we're trying to get things in the future. So get companies like Airbus, get companies like La Poste or the British Telecom, and to fully support or partially support you. But on the other side, that would mean typically in a North Atlantic kind of context that you will commit for the next 10 or 12 years or X amount of years to the company that they have supported your study. So if you want freedom in the sense of switching or getting out of a company, then it's something you have to obviously, fund yourself and not try to get a sponsor for it. Mm-hmm. Also, there are some cases when there is a sponsor, there is no other opportunity from scholarship from our end. So it's all the scholarship that you will get from the sponsor. So it's not something that you can say, okay, I'll get some money from Durham, I'll get some money from Lyon, I'll get some money from the sponsor, and then no, it doesn't work like that.
Mm. And in addition to those scholarships, we have also 2 more scholarships which target to specifically to candidates from emerging countries. We also strongly believe that there are excellent candidates from emerging countries where it doesn't have to be any specific continent, but it can be Africa, Asia, or South America. The region that they can have very good candidates who would like to apply for this program, and they can get a scholarship as well. And so the scholarship will be granted based on the profile of the candidates. So when you apply for the program, you can apply for scholarship at the same time. And we have another scholarship specifically target to people who are interested in doing research in CSR, because our school and Durham as well, we're strongly encouraging people who invest in the research time in developing better solution or better management solution in how to improve corporate social responsibility and environmental issues. These are the urgent issue for our world today, and we're encouraging people to work in this field as well. So we have a scholarship for that, and again, it's about a few thousand euros or pounds per year over the 4 years period.
But this is in fee waivers. Okay, so it's not money waivers, in your pocket. Is instead of having to pay 20, you may end up having to pay 13 that specific year, and we can only decide on that once you have firmly accepted your offer. So it's not something that's in advance, okay, that's what we offer you, and then you start considering something. Once you decide and you are on and you're really on about the program, and we see all the applications, then we can decide, because we have a certain budget and we're trying to split it in between many worthy candidates. So we cannot know in advance what we want to give to you, because we really need to be able to support more people. There are some questions that I can answer quite briefly that they have to do with specifics. So there is one from Benjamin on regarding the dissertation. If instead of 55,000 words, is it possible to break it down into 5 publishable? No, it's not. It's not a by publication. There is a thing called PhD by publication. That's not what you're looking at here. What of course can be done is that it could be in the form of essays in predictive analytics, where this could be 3 different topics within the business analytics or forecasting analytics or luxury marketing. And you could be looking at how organizations reacted to the pandemic, and could you see at pricing things, or that nice phenomenon that in times of distress and pandemic, actually luxury sales go up. Michel is very happy here because his kind of market he's looking at, they're always successful. Give me a rainy day, still I will sell, and try see that phenomenon. That could be one of your study. Okay, still, if you have 3 kind of topics related within something which is an umbrella thing which is called luxury marketing, that's still fine. Ideally, of course, we would like to have 1 topic, because people find some difficulty in spreading into different things. So focus is a very important thing in such a long journey. That idea of, again, Benjamin, 2 different research topics, supervisor, 2 different members, no, that's a no-go. If you can do 1, that's a big success. Now, 2, you can do that in your postdoc, but no, that's a very bad idea. And when we say 2 supervisors, it's not the idea that the one supervisor will sort of take one topic and then the other guy on different topic. No,
it's the same topic.
Same topic.
Yeah.
And then something from George, if you have 2 supervisors, then you have 2 perspectives, and then you have 2 different lines, and then the student is it's not clear about, there's some maybe mixed signals and how you align these things. Actually, we engage into a journey where you may receive at some stage advice from people that come from different backgrounds, and we sort of cherish that opportunity. We think that's a good thing. That diversity, we think it's a very good thing. We don't see it as a problem. We see it as actually a benefit you receive from getting advice from people coming from different backgrounds and having different. So you may end up having a guy who is sort of doing qualitative research in all their lives, and then another professor that maybe she's doing quantitative research in all her life, and you make their advice, look, go for secondary data, analyze them with advanced regression, but then on top of that, go and do some deep in-depth rich interviews to sort of get some further insights. And that's something you wouldn't get if everything was fully aligned, but that gives you a more rich way to approach your topic. So when we say you have 2, it doesn't say that the one will come and cancel the other. The one will come and complement the other. So and at the end of the day, it's your decision how you go about things. Okay, the student is the ultimate decision maker of how to approach the topic. You get advice and advice. That's why these are called advisors and supervisors, but they are not the decision makers instead of you.
Yeah. Okay. And on top of that, our professors are here to give constructive comments. They're not here to prevent from you to moving forward. That's not the aim of the supervision. So both of them, the ultimate goal is to see you graduate, right? You go to the final stage to defend successfully your doctorate degree. So this is the main objective. So they're not here to slow you down. On the contrary, they're here to push you to the finishing line. So that's why they're here to make constructive comment for you to move forward.
There is another question to elaborate about the taught courses and if they're electives. No, there are no electives.
Yeah.
It's 5 modules, very well designed. They cover a broad spectrum of topics. We start with leadership and followership, so it's more an HR kind of module. Top experts delivering that from both ends. From my end, Michel will talk from his end. Suzanne Brown, a very well-known author and global authority in leadership. Then we go entrepreneurship. We have Joanna Berry, again, a very well-known professor in her own field that is covering that end. We go into technology management and
the strategic management.
And strategic management. Technology management is actually at the moment delivered from the head, the dean, the interim dean in Durham Business School, Kieran Fernandez, extremely well known in what he does. But as I say, we sort of show the kind of involvement we have by having our top senior management academic to deliver this one module in this instance. Then we go strategy. And at the very end, it's me and Michel that we do the theory into practice. Yeah. That last one is in 2 phases because it's 60 credits, double module. So it starts by opening up the research methods, and then in a sort of a formative assessment for the next 8 weeks, you start developing your proposal. Then after 8 weeks, there's a second point where you see us again, and then we do some guest lectures and some further more advanced material. And then you take your time from that point on in mid-July till end of September to actually deliver your 15,000 document. And there were webinars and follow-ups every week to make sure you keep on going and deliver by end of September. And then in early October, you have your defense and the thumbs up to go into the research phase. So it's a module that goes for quite some time. It's not like any of the other modules, that final one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we are about to reach the 1 hour. Oh, it has been a very informative event. Thank you. It doesn't seem that we have more questions at this stage. I mean, there are a couple other questions that, I think it is much better if we answer directly, if we are in touch directly with George and with Benjamin. Well, let's try to go for it. All right. George, he says, if an employer is not happy to provide access to their data, would University of Durham or Emlyon assist in providing a company that can help the candidate provide access to data?
The answer here is it has to be a little bit diplomatic. So it doesn't mean that you have to do it with your own employer. You can still do it with your own data in your own field of interest. You could be working for the Ministry of Defense in UK and decide to do something on luxury marketing. Absolutely no problem with that. And it could be secondary data that you can find anywhere in the web, or it could be one of the databases that it happens Michel to have in his possession at that very moment. But there is no obligation from Durham or Emlyon to actually find you data. Okay, this is something that you have to collect in the process of the research journey. If that's secondary data, you have to collect the data from publicly available sources. If it's primary data, which we strongly advise you to try get your hands on some primary data as well, surveys or interviews or observation, then it's something that you will collect through your research journey. Okay, so this is something you'll get support for, but it's not something that we will give you the data in a plate and say, okay, now you play with that, or we'll give you full access to a company. This is something that have to work out with you, and that's actually part of the research journey. It's part of the research process. Get access to the data.
I mean, all a doctorate degree around the world will have some stage of you have to collect your own data somehow. Even when you have access to company data, sometimes it's good also to collect outside of your company data to confirm or disconfirm your hypothesis. Because when you do, your research topic and focus only on your company, I mean, how objective is your result would be? You can have very subjective because the special circumstances of the setting, the company or the environment, your organization that make the data say something, right? But you need to, sometimes you have to cross-check if your theory or your hypothesis are checked, are verified by all the source of data as well. So sometimes you need to have also collecting outside your company data. That's part of the journey. To do rigorous research, you can just rely on one source of data only. Okay, yes. We have one more question from George.
Yes, we have one more question from George, and well, let's make it the last one. George asks, would there be any assistance from either universities to connect candidates with potential employers at the end of the program?
Well, that's what the network is about. We have, our school, we have a strong alumni network. So when you join our school, you are part of the alumni network right away from the day when you start. But when you graduate, you're part of our alumni, and we have like 1,000 alumni around the world in different countries. So you will have access to we have a very strong alumni database. So you can get access to that database. You can search by country, by region, by profession, by sector, by industry. So you can search in the region or in the city you are in, and you can contact them and you can offer them, you have a bit of coffee and you're networking with them. Yes, even on LinkedIn profile, we have a lot of alumni who post where they get the degree from. So you search on LinkedIn, like Emlyon, for example, graduates, you will see a lot of them on LinkedIn profile as well. So we have many sources of connecting with user networks.
To top on that is that both institutions, they have career services as well, so which they're extremely supportive, and they have their ways to help you and get into the job market. But here I have to make a comment. This is not the traditional degree where you stop what you're doing and then in void you start looking for a job from scratch. This is not even an MBA degree or a master's degree. So this is something where it's going to take 5-6 years. So those 5-6 years, it's part-time. So you're doing something else. You are at a full-time work. We want that. We cherish that. We want to see that. We want you to tackle with real problems. We want you to keep on having experience. And then you are either considering going higher in that organization or switching organization or getting out of that organization and start doing your startup or getting into a different sector. So there is already a plan in day one. So all of our students, they have already a plan in day one of what they want to do with the degree. So it's very uncommon that someone will be totally out of the blue in year 5, getting the degree in their hands, 2 degrees, and they say, okay, now I need a job. If still this is the case, we will definitely help you, but it's very, in the absolutely majority of cases, students know almost from day one exactly where they want to go, and we are here to help them do that switch.
Yeah.
That is excellent. Well, thank you very much. Yet again, we have reached the end of a webinar. It has been a pleasure, and of course, all of you already have my contact information. Please do not hesitate to contact me. I'll do the necessary to help you, or put you in touch with the program directors or with alumni, with participants. It would be, of course, we will be happy to do that for you. All right. So thank you very much, Professor Nikolopoulos, and thank you very much, Professor Phan. And looking forward to see you in Paris. I'll see you tomorrow morning over there.
Yeah. Just one thing.
Yes,
before we
please.
go. Kostas was mentioning about the research day that we are organizing for our current participants. The next research day would be on the 7th of May, which is a Saturday. And Carlos, we can publish that when we have set up the link, we could be online this year. So we can send out the link to all the prospective candidates.
Absolutely.
To attend, just to watch how the presentation of a DBA candidate look like.
Absolutely.
So we have our current participants.
Yes, you can count on that. Everybody who joined the session today will be receiving an email with that information.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Well,
Carlos.
thank you.
Thank you, Carlos.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.